Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to your very own Byju's 9th and 10th grade channel. I'm your teacher Aishwarya and I welcome you to yet another amazing class of Exam Edge series where we are going to be doing the chapter Life Processes, right? And of course, in this particular class, what are we going to do? We will be solving very important questions from this chapter. So we will do 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, 4 mark, 5 mark questions, right? So we are going to be solving them in great detail. And of course, as you all know, right, I want to make this class as effective as possible for all of you. So when I say effective, I mean it time effective, information effective. So I want to make it a point that if you spend at least 1.5 hours today, you are going to be pros at this chapter. And with life processes, let me tell you one thing, the only way in which you are going to be a pro at this chapter is if you do repeated practice, right? Repeated practice over and over, and only then you are going to ace this particular topic, right? And it should start from a place where you're not scared of the chapter. Don't keep telling, "Arey ma'am, ye chapter bahut bada hai, nahi hoga, nahi hoga." You have to stop that first. Second thing, you start saying, "I will keep practicing." So good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible, I am visible, you can see me, right? And my screen is visible to all of you. Yes? Good evening, Kashish, Student Ash, Cosmotalk, Divyanshu, Shweta, Neha. I can see many of you are here. I can see Kavyanjali, Gungun, Harshit, Vaishnavi. Yes, I am clearly audible and visible. Awesome. Okay. So now, of course, students, what are we going to be doing today? I don't want to waste your time because see, now you are in 10th standard. Half yearlies are around the corner for many of you, right? Hello, Team 7 guy. Hello. So now, of course, as you all know, exams are pretty much in the corner, right? Which is why we see that making it a point that you practice more is necessary. Now, how many questions are we going to do? We will be doing 10 objective questions. So today we have a total of very weird number today, 28 questions, okay? So we're going to do 10 objective, we will do 15 subjective, okay? And then we're going to do 3 bonus questions. Now I'll tell you what these 3 bonus questions are, right? These 3 bonus questions are actually going to be NEET level questions, right? These are going to be NEET level questions which we will solve, which will go on to tell you that the foundation, if you are an aspiring doctor today, right? Or if you are an aspiring person who wants to get into the field of medical field, right? Whatever it be, this chapter is what is necessary for you. So I say 3 very easy peasy questions we will be doing, right? And my intent is to not take a very long class, right? I want to finish this class maximum in 1 hour. 1.5 is maximum I will take, not more than that, right? Which is why, what do I need all of you to do? I need you to make sure you have your notebooks and pens ready, right? This is like almost like the preamble of my class, right? Every time I tell you the same thing. Make sure you have your notebook and textbook ready, have your stationery ready, right? And make sure you have your water bottle and of course a quiet place to focus, right? Now it's high time you start getting a little bit serious in class, yes? And at the same time when we're learning also, not like you have to be very serious and learn. No, have fun and learn, right? And of course, most importantly, enjoy the class and learn. Today, I'm very excited for all of you to be here, right? If chapter is in your fingertips, I am the happiest, right? I am the happiest today. Yes. Now my enthusiasm is on another level. I'm very excited. I'm very happy today. You can, I don't know why, I have a very pleasant smile also. So I hope you're all ready, right? Don't forget to hit the like button on this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I will give you 2 homework questions, right? 30 kar lenge, 2 homework questions for all of you. Yes. Now, today's class, right? Let me tell you one thing. Our team has gone extra mile to focus on giving you all PYQs. So to be honest, आज का क्लास में we are going to be focusing on PYQs. Now when it's previous year repeated questions, some 1 or 2 questions would be such that you would have already solved it with me, right? You would have solved it with me earlier. You'd be like, "Arey ma'am, हमने solve कर दिया था." Don't say that. It's just that they are PYQs because I know some of you are very regular in my class where I know that you will pick this question and say we've solved it before. So don't tell me that ma'am you are doing this. It's just that we are solving PYQs. So there are going to be some repetitive questions, but the intent that I want you to know is that the main thing is that these are the topics which are going to be repetitive, right? So that is what you need to focus. It is not a new t-shirt. It's a very old one. I don't wear it often, that's all. Like, it'll be at the bottom of my cupboard. So you understand that all my t-shirts have been put for wash for ages and they've not been washed. That I've reached the end of my pile and I'm taking new, the ones that I've never worn before. That is where I'm at. Okay. Hello, Khushbu. Hello, Soulful Dreamer. Yes. Okay. Right? So are we ready for the class? Okay, I know, right? No, it says 6 to 10. All of us says 6 to 10. This t-shirt says 6 to 10. The other one just has Byju's written. So I normally wear the other one only. Color has faded, see. They have to do color correction and all to make us look fancy. Okay, so as you can see, I am in one must mood today. I hope all of you are also very excited for class, right? Happy Teachers Day in advance. Thank you and happy Raksha Bandhan to all of you. Right? I think it's today, right? I keep getting confused on the dates, but happy Raksha Bandhan as well, right? ठीक है. Oh, one more thing I wanted to tell you about is homework heroes, right? So we're going to do this thing where we're going to give you homework questions and we want to appreciate you for your homeworks, right? So which is why we're going to do homework heroes, which is why I want you to let me know whenever I give you a homework, say that I'm a homework hero, let me know in the comments and give me the answer and I'll pick some top 2 to 3 homework answers and feature it in the community post. So you will have an, you'll have an opportunity to get featured in the channel as well, right? So we're going to start doing this in 9th, 10th as well. We do it for 6 to 8, but we're going to start doing it for 9th, 10th as well, right? Okay, yes, I know you are all my heroes, right? Okay, awesome. So let's get started, everybody. Question number 1 on your screens. I don't know if we have the polls ready, right? So in the meanwhile, you anyway give me the answer. Now the question, this came last year, right? I solved it with your seniors. This has come in last year's paper, right? And also don't randomly chat in class. Sakshi and many others, whoever is having a chat, right? Homework hero / heroine, right? Yes, I know. In the given diagram of the closed stomata, 1, 2, 3, 4 are respectively what? I know you solved some of it with me. So this is what I want you to focus on the topic. What is 1, 2, 3 and 4? What is the step, right? I know, right? I know some of you will say. But there are many who haven't solved it, so don't worry, right? Some of you who haven't solved it, it's okay. Very good. What is 1? 1 here is a dark spot, right? So when 1 is a dark spot, we see that 1 right here is going to be nucleus. What is 2? 2 is pointing towards many in number and we see that they are small and tiny. And here, of course, if this is showing stomata, these have to be the guard cells, right? Which is why in this particular case, this right here is the chloroplast, right? So this right here is the chloroplast. Now 3 is pointing towards a large structure. So 3 right here, we know large structures that is there is basically the vacuole. And what is 4? 4 is pointing to the surrounding jelly-like structure, which is going to be 4 that is there, is pointing towards the bean shape-like structure, right? So in this case, it is going to be the guard cell, right? So in this case, what is the correct order? The correct order is nucleus, chloroplast, vacuole, guard cell. Easy peasy. 1 mark for all of you. My intent in this class is to make sure you get confidence, right? Yes, it is to get confidence. That is all. Very good. We'll bring crash course. Don't worry, Shobana. But you give me the answer to this. Next one is also a very recent question which has come in 2023. Given below are 2 columns showing enzymes and glands in the alimentary canal of human beings. Column 2 shows the component of food in which it acts on, right? So identify the correct match. Yes? Sasuke, let me find, I think, just give me a minute, I will just figure it out, right? Abhi ke liye, if poll is not there, you just answer like this. I know many of you will still get the answer. So I can see A is pepsin and starch, B is trypsin and proteins, lipase is proteins, amylase is emulsified fat. So somebody is asking me about positive feedback mechanism. If you don't mind, positive feedback mechanism is something I would like to teach when I'm doing control coordination next week, right? So in control coordination, I will take that part up, right? Toxic as ever. Arey, you tell me your name. What is this user handle toxic as ever? Please don't keep, you tell me your name. I don't want to call you that, right? Okay. So in this case, of course, very good all of you. Correct answer is option B, which is trypsin, right? Because we know pepsin is something that acts on proteins, right? Amylase is something which acts on starch. So which is why in this case, this is not the match, this is not the match, right? Then of course we have lipase. Lipase acts on emulsified fat. So this is also not the case. Correct answer is option B. Array, today no menti, but lots of enthu. Doesn't match, but theek hai. Okay, moving on to question number 3. Look at the diagram. So this is there in your practice question paper. So you have a diagram given to you where you have plant, right? You have an arrow which says process Y is giving out carbon dioxide. We have process X which is giving oxygen, and we have process Z which is giving water. Poll is live. Thank you, Harish, for the polls, right? So now you have to identify what is the process which is taking place at Z. Easy peasy question. All of you will be able to get the answer for this, right? Yes, very good everyone, very, very good. Let me open the chat and see where the polls are at. I can see that there is a competition happening between option B and option C. Identify the process which is taking place at Z. So what is the process taking place at Z, students? See, look at the arrow. All arrows are pointing outwards. That means which is the process by which they are releasing this, right? That is the question. We can end the polls now. Students, we can end the polls. And I can see that many of you have got the correct answer. Very, very good, right? So in this case, the correct answer here is option B. Majority have got the answer, but majority of you have got the wrong answer also, right? So many of you have gone wrong here. Twinkle Bacha, don't say that. Everybody is learning today. No, don't say that. See, let's go X. Let's go one by one. You have plant. Plant is doing some process X which is giving out oxygen as a byproduct. What is the process by which it is giving out a byproduct? Process X by which oxygen is a byproduct. That means we know that in the process of photosynthesis, we know that oxygen is given out as a byproduct, right? Now you have process Y which is giving out carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Yes? Now we see that some process Y is giving out carbon dioxide as a byproduct, right? So now we know process Y is nothing but respiration, right? Respiration is the process by which glucose is broken down and it gives out carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Now in what process by which it will give out water? Now it's not that it's giving out water as liquid, but rather it gives out water in the form of water vapor, right? It gives it out in the form of water vapor. So what is that process? We know that transpiration is the process by which excess water is given out in the form of water vapor, which is why in this case we see that the correct answer is option B. Yes? So now for students who said, ma'am, why not photosynthesis? Are we clear? Now in your exam, let me tell you, focus on the arrows, focus on the question. Yes? Thank you everybody. Happy Raksha Bandhan to all of you. टोमेटो से पानी निकलता है. Yes, बाबू. Market demand अभी के लिए क्यों? Let's focus on this, right? Okay, I have a question on translocation, Kavyanjali. I'll explain that. Ma'am, X और Y क्या है? Sakshi, X is photosynthesis, Y is respiration. ठीक है? Yes. Moving on. An organism that breaks the food outside the body and then it absorbs it. Which is that organism, right? So here we have plant parasite Cuscuta. Is it animal parasite tapeworm, right? Is it a bacteria called Rhizobium, or is it fungi which is Rhizopus? Harish, can we have the polls please? Yes, the poll will come. Harish sir is operating all the way from Delhi, so there'll be a slight lag, right? Yes, at the moment, no, I don't teach for class 12 at the moment. I'll stress on that. Okay. So now, of course, everybody, the poll is also live. You'll have to just bear with us a little bit because Harish sir is operating all the way from Delhi, right? So Harish sir may take a little bit of time to sort of listen to what I am saying and then he's going to operate. So just bear with us, right? There's little internet glitch, so there might be a little bit lag here and there, but please don't mind that, right? Arrow, ma'am, इतने आसान question के लिए, अरे, क्या है Aquarius? एक मिनट देखती हूँ. एरो मैम इतने आसान क्वेश्चन आने लगे तो बल्ले बल्ले, नहीं तो खाओ दही बल्ले. ठीक है? So much Hindi I may not be able to follow, but I'm assuming that it's easy. Okay. So many of you have already given the vote, right? 75 of you have got the answer to this, right? So in this case, the correct answer here is option D, fungi. So we know that in the case, right? We see that in this particular case, when there is breakdown of food happening outside the body, right? When food is broken down outside the body, that is something that happens in the case of saprotrophs, right? What are saprotrophs? Or organisms that exhibit saprotrophic mode of nutrition. They don't have the ability to break it within their body, right? Like in the case of Holozoic, which is why in saprotrophs, they are the ones that break it down otherwise. Now, Zimra, bacteria that are there exhibit a wide mode of nutrition. We have one kind of bacteria which are photoautotrophic, which means they can do photosynthesis. Some of them can do chemosynthesis, while some of them are heterotrophic and they may exhibit various kinds of it as well, right? Yes, I am right now in Bangalore. These comments are getting moderated from Delhi. Okay? 1 mark for all of you here. Moving on to question number 5. Brilliant question this is. 2022 mein this question has come, right? So everybody focus. The sequence of anaerobic respiration in our muscles during heavy exercise. Read every option very clearly. This is from the flow chart on respiration. That flow chart is super duper important, everybody. Please star mark that flow chart because you can get 3 mark questions to elaborate the flow chart also, right? So now, of course, everybody, what is the answer to this particular one? We're talking about anaerobic respiration. This is the confidence level we should have. Ma'am, A for sure. Right? This is the confidence level. No problem, AV. I'm in the 5th question already, but it's okay. We have 20 more questions to go, right? A for Aishwarya ma'am. How many of you agree for that? Okay, we can close the polls now because I think 85 of you have voted for the answer. Lock kiya jaye. Not a very good KBC impersonator. Halwa question. Correct answer is option A, right? C, glucose. We know that, see, let me tell you first and foremost. In this case, glucose gets broken down into pyruvate where? In the cytoplasm, right? So this gets broken down in the cytoplasm, which means that B and D are wrong, which says that glucose gets converted to pyruvate inside the mitochondria. That is not the case, right? We know that this breakdown of glucose to pyruvate happens in the cytoplasm. Now you are left with A and C. Now next C is telling me that inside the muscle cells, my pyruvate that is there is giving me alcohol and carbon dioxide. That's something you see in yeast, right? This is anaerobic respiration in yeast, which is why the correct answer is lactic acid along with energy, right? Ma'am, why option D is also wrong? Bacha, focus on this part. Glucose gets converted to pyruvate, not in mitochondria, right? We see that this right here gets broken down inside cytoplasm. Yes? Okay, easy peasy. Energy should also, exactly, it should not be only lactic acid, right? See, it should not be that there is ethanol and lactic acid. That is not the case. Even your byproducts are different, right? Lactic acid ke saath, it should be energy, right? Very good. Soni Patel, toxic as ever. Many of you are asking me about root pressure, transpiration pull. I have a question for that. So when I take that topic, can I please explain this? It becomes easy. Akshat Singh, I will communicate to the team and I will tell them to make the telephone. I will make the, I will make it up. I'll make sure that the link is available, right? Yes. Ma'am, is this lactic acid different from milk's lactic acid? See, there is again, when you go into the details of all of this, you will understand that there are various forms. You learn about concepts like isomers and all of that. But basically, more or less structurally, slight changes could be there, right? Slight differences could be there. I don't know French. How will I speak French? I'm still learning Hindi. So first, let me learn Hindi. Okay. Ma'am, heavy exercise, ethanol is not released. Yes, very good. Moving on. In spring, sugar stored in root or stem tissue of plants is transported to the buds for what? So here for the energy that it needs to grow the buds for, temperature regulation, balancing the storage of different organs or diffusion process. Yes? Sugar or basically your starch that is there which is stored is eventually converted and it is stored, right? Sandy Vlogs, very proud of you, very, very proud. Poll is live now, you give me the answer. Yes? We see that it is stored or transported to the buds specifically, right? Why is it stored to the buds? Array, this is very easy. Mendel is the father of genetics. We have heredity chapter left. Very interesting chapter. That also requires a lot of practice, but it becomes easy peasy after that. Okay. Very good, all of you. I can see majority of you have got the answer. I don't need to spend more time, right? So we know that especially, now I'll take a question on translocation, right? So we know that translocation is a process by which food that is there is transported through the phloem. And we know that in the phloem, especially in the sieve tubes, right? And the companion cell, we see that there is a difference in the osmotic pressure which gets created, right? So as the sucrose or the sugars are transported here, it creates a difference in the amount of water level, or it creates a difference in osmotic pressure. As a release, a lot of water will enter, and this is how the food gets transported, right? So this is what we call as translocation, right? How does it move up and down? Again, based on the difference in the water levels, right? The basis in the difference in osmotic pressure, it is able to go up and down, right? Okay, so in this particular case, we see that sugar is stored or it is transported because they're saying it goes to the bud. Why does it go to the bud? Because it needs energy to grow, right? Yes. Now moving on to the next question, question number 7, which has appeared in your 2022 paper, right? Yes. Which of them have more dead cells? That's very vague, Harshit. Give me a more entire this one. Transportation of plants, entire topic. That is a 1-hour class that I have taken. So Zimra, wherever you have not understood, you can go back and watch the video, right? Because if I start teaching that, 1 hour will go in just teaching that, no? So we'll look at this. Now, of course, the question is, I did not show you the options. Can we have the polls, please, Harish? In the human alimentary canal, there are specific enzymes or juices that are secreted in locations 1, 2, and 3. So I hope all of you have identified what is 1, 2, and 3. After you have identified what is 1, 2, and 3, you need to give me the correct answer here. Anybody who has not seen the diagram and you want me to go back to the previous one, you tell me, okay? Team 7 Guy is on the top. Student Ash is on the top. Vaishnavi, AV, Neha, Tanmay, Yashveer. I can see Tanmoy has given me the answer. Anchal, Abhibabu, Cosmo Talk. Awesome. AV Blogs. Anonymous. Aha. So proud, so proud. Very good, all of you. Very good. 77% of you have identified. Hey, you all look like you're going to ace your half-yearlies. I feel very confident about your half-yearlies. I don't know about you. I am very confident that you will do really well in biology for sure, right? So now, of course, in this case, the correct answer is option B, right? See, what is 1? 1 here is your salivary gland, right? So for those of you who went wrong, 1 here is your salivary gland. Salivary gland produces saliva. That, of course, has salivary amylase in it, right? So it has amylase. Now, if you have identified this, you eliminate out C and D. It says lipase and trypsin. No, right? So you can let go of it. Now, next up, you have 2 and 3. 2 is your liver. That is also easily identifiable. 2 is liver. What does liver produce? It produces bile. Stop right here. Eliminate out option A. Answer is B, right? Very simple and easy. Yes? Is pancreas duct or ductless? Pancreas is a heterocrine gland or a mixed gland where certain parts of it have ducts in them. So the digestive aspect of it has ducts, right? While on the other hand, when you talk about the hormonal functions of pancreas, it does not have that, right? Kader, ma'am, end may play up the slides because we have to calculate our marks. Okay, done. We'll calculate. So I think so far you've got everything correctly. I'll total it in the end, okay? I'll keep totaling it. I have a marker, so I'll keep totaling it in the side. So next one, assertion reason. Yes. See, if you're all Aishwarya ma'am students, technique for assertion reason is sorted, right? You know the technique to approach for assertion reason. For those of you who are very new to my class and you are watching this video for the first time, I will teach you the technique once again, right? Assertion reason statement should be done in 2 steps. Step number 1, treat them as individual statements, right? So first statement says that blood clotting prevents excessive loss of blood. Okay. So in this particular case, we see that it is true. Now here we see that the reason is blood clotting is due to blood plasma and white blood cells which are present in the blood. This statement here is false, right? Is it due to blood plasma and white blood cells which are present? Does blood clotting happen because of that? Very quickly in the live chat, tell me which is the blood cell responsible. Y'all are before me only. I mean, you've given me the answer before I've asked the question. Very good. It is not because of white blood cells, but it is because of platelets, right? So it's because of platelets, which is why in this case, we see that the correct answer is option C. Your A statement is true, but R is false. Now, of course, in this particular slide, the answer is marked wrong, which is why I'm going to write the answer here, right? 1 mark for all of you. So it is not your blood platelets. I mean, it's not your WBCs. It is due to platelets. Yes? Okay. अल्टीमेट गाइड गेमर, अगर अक्षिता इंस्टा यूज करती है वो अभी नहीं बताएगी, वो क्लास में शी इज पेइंग अटेंशन, यू आल्सो पे अटेंशन टू मी. यस, मूविंग ऑन टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 9. Okay, Anjali is also listening to me. Afsana, you listen to me. Okay, assertion statement says that anaerobic respiration takes place in yeast and has one of the end products as an acid. Reason being that during anaerobic respiration there is incomplete breakdown of glucose. Look at it as individual statements, right? In anaerobic respiration, student Ash, end products is yeast. I mean, is an acid. End products is an acid. That is your keyword. Trypsin is basically activated by the change in the pH, right? So that we see that when it comes from the stomach to the pancreas, there's a change in the pH and presence of proteins. We see that it allows for the action of trypsin, but trypsinogen to trypsin is activated by something else, right? Yes, Arshdeep. I read your comments. Yes. Okay. So Arshdeep ma'am is also there in the chat. Very good, all of you. Very good. Ethanol. Think about whatever, whenever have you ever heard me say ethanol? I always say something else. I never say ethanol, although ethanol is the answer. I never say ethanol. I always say something else because I cannot pronounce ethanol quickly. Very good, very good. Very good, all of you. Abhi poll we can close. I can see 61% of you have got the answer. Very good. Correct answer is option D, right? Anaerobic respiration in yeast results in the formation of ethanol, which is an alcohol. I never say ethanol. I always say gives out alcohol and carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Meera, emulsification, I have a question based on that, right? So we will do that, okay? Then I'll explain emulsification then. So it is alcohol, and in carbon and your compounds, you will learn about all of this in greater detail as well, right? So here we see that it is alcohol, not daru, right? I mean, yeah, like colloquially, but this alcohol is different, okay? Then of course, we see that during anaerobic respiration, there is incomplete breakdown, which is true, right? So this statement is also true, which is why assertion is false, but reason is true. Next up, 10th question. The rate of breathing in aquatic organisms is much slower than seen in terrestrial organisms. Reason being that the amount of oxygen dissolved in water is very low when compared to the amount of oxygen that is present in the air. What is the correct answer to this? This has come in 2022. Students, let me tell you one thing, okay? Breathing rate ka difference between aquatic organism and terrestrial organisms is a short question. Last year and in 2022, I'm just not even going to talk about 10 years, past 3 years paper if you analyze and see, right? Or if you analyze past 5 years papers, this particular topic has come either as 2 marks or now ever since the introduction of objective questions, it has come in 1 mark. So you know that this is a very important assertion reason question and an important topic that is going to come. So please learn this. Yes? Very good, all of you, very good. Now you should be able to give me the answer to this, right? Okay. Now there is a confusion. I see there's a confusion between A and D. That means you don't know. There are students who are confused if breathing rate in an aquatic organism is faster or slower, right? Now understand for students who ended up marking option A. See, if you marked option, if you think assertion assertion statement is true, then you will go wrong because you will say option A is the correct answer, right? Terrestrial organism is you and me in land, right? You and me in land is terrestrial. Now in this case, correct answer is option D, right? Because in aquatic organisms, the breathing rate that is there is actually faster than us, right? If you compare the breathing rate in a human and a fish mate is much, much faster, right? It is much, much faster. While on the other hand, we see that the reason is because the amount of oxygen dissolved is very less, which is why they need to take up more and more water to enable that they get enough oxygen. So this statement is true, right? That is the reason. Now, of course, for students who are here, I did not get a question where I could show you my methodology, which is why I'm going to give you I'll give you another question, okay? Now, this particular question is going to be a question which I wanted to solve probably in the short, so just give me one moment, right? So in this particular case, the assertion statement here, I'll write this down, okay? So assertion statement is testis in humans, right? Oh, this is a different topic altogether. Okay, let me phrase this differently. Okay. Awesome. Arteries are blood vessels which have thicker walls, right? So I'm making up my own assertion, reason, question, okay? So just give me a minute. Arteries are blood vessels which have thicker walls. They transport blood away from the heart, okay? This is the reason statement. Now in this particular case, you have A, B, C and D, right? Same options as before, right? Here it says that both are true. So both are true and R is correct explanation, right? I'm just going to put short forms for A. Now this is both are true and R is incorrect. Next one, we're going to say A is true, R is false. This is A is false and R is true. What is the answer? Both are false. Hurry, students. Now I have gotten a slight scare seeing the answers. Now I'm actually interested to know. See, I want to see the answers for this. I have made this question on the spot. I have not even come prepared. But I'm thinking of topics where you will go wrong. That's why. Very good, very good. Okay, ma'am, B for sure, A for sure. Ma'am, options, no. Array, incorrect. This is R is incorrect explanation of A or for A, whatever. My grammar could be wrong. 54% of you have voted for option A, right? Ma'am, except for pulmonary artery. A except for pulmonary artery. Why? A for sure. Exceptions are accepted. Actually, I want you all to think. You guys are unnecessarily complicating this question. I'm telling you, you are complicating this question. This is so basic. The concept is basic, but you are overthinking it. And this question is a best example to know that sometimes you just need to be making it easy, right? Okay. Now I'll explain this to you. Those of you who marked A as a correct answer is correct. The correct answer is option A. Now I'll explain why, right? Now for students who want to know the technique. Step number 1 in assertion reason is to identify and look at them as statements, right? Individual statements. Arteries are blood vessels which have thick walls. This statement is true, right? We know that arteries are blood vessels which are thick walls. They transport blood away from the heart, right? They take blood away from the heart. We know that irrespective. See, if you consider pulmonary artery also, where is pulmonary artery going from? Pulmonary artery arises from the heart, right? Which is why whenever I tell you, or whenever I define an artery, my first way of defining or telling what an artery is, they are blood vessels that go away from the heart, right? Even if it is your pulmonary artery, where is it going from? It is going away from the heart. Just that nature of the blood is different, right? Nature of the blood is different. So, we see that this is also true. Now, that is step number 1. Step number 2 is if both statements are true, right? If both statements are true, how will you know if it is the correct reason? Now, you have eliminated C and D. C and D is eliminated because both statements are true, right? Now, how will you know if it is the correct explanation? You will have to say or ask why exactly. How or why? See, it's not always why, okay? It could be how, why, something like that. So, in this particular case, if you see, why is it that the blood vessels that are there? See, like I said, this statement, or rather I would say this question, because I made it on the spot, it is a very simple statement, right? Abhi normally it will be a little more different. Now, of course, let me tell you that in this particular case, why is it that arteries have thicker walls, right? Divyanshu asked me, ma'am, why do arteries have thicker walls? Because they are transporting blood which is away from the heart. Now, if blood is going away from the heart, we know that especially when the heart pumps the blood, right? Heart is like a motor, right? Heart is like a pump. So, it is exerting pressure, right? It is exerting a certain amount of force, right? And we know that when the blood goes from the heart, or away from the heart, it will exert a force. So, pressure is high, which is why your arteries need to be able to withstand it. If arteries had thin walls, what would happen? Those thin walls will not be able to withstand the pressure and they may break, right? Or they may not be able to tolerate it and they can get damaged, right? Which is why in this particular case, we see that arteries have thick walls. So in this case, we see that correct answer if both are true, and if your reason answers the explanation, then you know that this is the correct answer, right? Yes. Are we clear? Students who are asking me how to solve assertion reason, this is the technique, okay? Technique is this, but practice hona bahut zaruri hai. Without practice, nothing is going to happen. Yes? Ma'am, blood gets transported. Blood will get transported to the heart. Of course it will, right? Yes, okay. Awesome. Right. Now, of course, Abhi, all of you, let me tell you, majority of you have got the answer to this, right? Majority got the answer correctly, which is why after, I have a question on double circulation also. I will explain all of this. Arey, both are not wrong. Both are correct. What is this Akshat? Nahi hoga. So now, of course, in this particular case, as you can all see, right? All questions, all are not MCQ. This is the first section A part. All of you have scored 10 out of 10. Write your marks down, right? All of you write your marks down. I'm writing it down here. So first 10 questions, all of you have scored 10 out of 10. I'm keeping track of all your functions. I mean, all your marks, right? So now we will move on to some subjective questions. Okay? Yes, I want you to write it down. Write it down side by side, okay? Next up, we're going to move into the subjective questions that are there. Koi nahi, if it's 5, 6 and all, you write it down. Next. Here, give me keywords. Yes? And oh, so sweet, Khader. Okay. No, don't worry. No problem. Now, moving on to question number 11. Everyone, please star mark this point in your textbook on alveoli. What is the structural pattern of human lungs that optimize the surface area for gaseous exchange? Right? So, this is one topic. Or what they'll ask you. They can ask you another one which says, why don't we have one single large alveoli, right? Why can't we have one single large alveoli, and instead why is it that we have millions and millions of alveoli, right? So here what is the pointer that you are going to write? Yes, so this could be asked in this manner also, or they will ask you what? They will ask you, how does alveoli maximize gaseous exchange? These are all the possible questions that I'm telling you that they will ask, right? So what should you write? Very good, very good. Neelam studies, team 7 guy. I can see Ash, right? They can ask why is diffusion not suitable. Very good AV, very good Harshit, Zakir, Kashish, Gautam. Very good all of you. Yes, exactly. So there are 2 points you have to write for which you will get 2 marks. First and foremost, I read somebody said finger-like projections. I think you got confused with villi. Villi and alveoli are different, right? But the function, the reason why we have this, the intent is the same, but understand what they are asking, right? So we know that alveoli that are there are thin-walled, right? So we know that they are air sac-like structures, right? And we know that they are thin-walled. And how thin are they? They are just one single cell thick, right? So we see that these are just one single cell thick. And we see that they are millions in number so that they maximize, right? So we see that they maximize the surface area for gaseous exchange, right? So they increase the surface area. So we see that in the lungs we have balloon-like structures called as alveoli, which are balloon-like structures, and we know that they are richly supplied with blood vessels. And we see that they are so, right? We see that we have millions of alveoli in order to increase the surface area for gaseous exchange. So if you've got these 2 points correctly, 2 marks for all of you, right? You have to write these 2 points. I will be looking for these 2 points. Yes? Okay. नोट्स मिलेगा डिस्क्रिप्शन में या फिर कमेंट्स में pinned होगा, right? Why can't we have one single large alveoli? We cannot have one single large alveoli because if you see, the amount of surface area will be relatively lesser, right? That's why we have millions instead of one single large one, right? Anonymous, I will take your doubt on stomach. I have a question. I will answer all of your questions. Don't worry. Next up is a question based on transportation in plants, right? Ma'am, ये blood वाला लिखना है क्या? Blood वाला लिखो, वो just say that it's surrounded with blood vessels, right? So millions of alveoli being surrounded with blood vessels ensures better gaseous exchange. So you can write that 1 point. Very good. What ensures? This is 2 mark. See, if you have subparts in your question, that is the best, right? So as you can all see, this is the best. Mithali, end of this, I will show you the answer, how it is going to be framed, right? Villi in the stomach helps in absorption. Alveoli in the lungs helps with gaseous exchange, right? Villi alveoli ka difference ho gaya. What ensures sufficient gaseous exchange in plants? State the conditions on which the direction of in which the diffusion of gases depend upon. Very good. So we know that gaseous exchange that is there, right? What ensures sufficient exchange of gaseous exchange? It is these small tiny structures called as stomata. What are the conditions? Environmental conditions are there, but basically it is the concentration of gases, right? Concentration of gases. Because we know that gaseous exchange takes place by the process of diffusion. How does diffusion happen? It is free movement from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration, right? So here we see that 1 mark for saying that stomata is where gaseous exchange takes place. Condition that on which the direction of diffusion happens is basically difference in concentration. And you can write temperature also because sometimes temperature can increase it, right? So 2 marks here. How many of you have scored 4 out of 4 so far? 4 out of 4 marks, arey ma'am, ho gaya, right? Easy peasy. Yes. So this is for part 1. Part 2 is here. Okay? Awesome. Amazing. I will do control coordination next week. Control coordination, aaram se I will teach you. Right? Aaram se. Next up, very commonly asked question. Right? Very commonly asked question, which is list in a tabular form 3 differences between arteries and veins, right? Yes. Okay. You can see blue moon. Sadly, I'll have to see only after class, right? Ma'am, you are going very fast. Slow down. Am I going very fast? Okay, fine. I'll slow down. Today, I think I got a little enthusiasm and I'm going pretty fast, but I'll be slow. Pineal gland will not come much. They may ask you like 1 sentence on pineal gland, right? Okay, I'll be slow. Don't worry, Drupad. See, arteries, veins, right? So whenever, now quickly to revise arteries and veins, we know that blood vessels that are there, right? For those of you who are not sure about this topic, blood vessels that are there, they are tubular structures, right? So we see that these that are there are tubular structures that helps in the transport of the blood, right? Now in our body, we see that there are three types of blood vessels. Now first kind is arteries, which are blood vessels that transport blood away from the heart, right? So we see that they are blood vessels that transport blood away from the heart. Yes. Now on the other hand, we see that because they transport blood away from the heart, we see that the pressure inside them is very, very high. And as a result, in order to withstand that pressure, we see that they have thick cell wall. We see that they have thick walls, right? So if I were to take a cross section of it, if I take an artery and I cut it from half, right, from top to bottom, we see that they have thick walls, right? So we see that the wall that is there of the artery is very, very thick. And as a result, the gap that is there, right, or the path through which the blood flows. So this is the part through which the blood will flow, right? So this part or this hollow space that is there is what we call as the lumen, right? Lumen is basically a space or it is a cavity. And we see that this lumen that is there, we see that this is very, very narrow. Now along with that, we see that because it is taking blood away from the heart, chances of backflow of blood is very less, right? What is backflow? That means if blood is going in the reverse direction, it is not possible, right? Which is why we see that there is no valves which are present in this particular case, yes? Now on the other hand, you have veins, right? Now veins are blood vessels which transport blood towards the heart. Okay, so they are the ones which carry deoxygenated blood from different parts of the body all the way to the heart, right? Majority of them transport deoxygenated blood. Now because they are going from different organs are not pumps like the heart. In our body we have only one pump, which is the heart. Other organs don't pump blood, which is why what happens, we see that they are relatively low, the pressure is very low. And because the pressure is low, they have thin walls also, right? And chances of backflow in this case is very high, which is why we also see that they have these flap-like structures called as valves, which prevent the backflow of blood, right? And of course, we see that in their case, right, because they have a thin wall, right? So in this case, because they have a thin wall, we see that the lumen, right, or the space through which the blood flows, the lumen is very big or it is large, right? So you can write any of the 3 pointers that we have discussed, right? And you will get 2 marks for the same, right? Easy peasy. Wait, is it 2 or 3 marks? Yeah, it's 2 marks. So you'll get 2 marks for this. Yes? Simple. Ma'am, repeat question 12 ka second point. See, question 12 ka second point is state the conditions upon which the direction of diffusion takes place. Now, student Ash was also asking me, ma'am, should I just mention what the conditions are or should I elaborate? Here, because it is only for 1 mark, you only need to mention, you don't need to elaborate. Now, here we are saying it is difference in concentration, right? Difference in concentration means it is going from a region of high concentration to low concentration. And even temperature can affect the movement, right? It is as simple as that. Arey, no problem, you write it down in your notebook. I am fine with that, but write the answer down. Yes? I hope we are clear with this. We are clear with this, yes? Next week, Wednesday, I'm going to be taking it up. Very good, AV, very good. Yes, ठीक है? Moving on to question number 14, 2 marks. Simple. Pakka question that is going to come. Name the part of the excretory system where the nephrons are found. You will get 1 mark for this. Write the structure and function of the nephron. Understand that you don't need to write stories on urine production. You just need to write 1 mark. 1 mark mein what is structure, what is function, right? Very good. Where will we find where will we find the nephron? Nephron is said to be the basic structural and functional unit of the kidneys. So we find them in the kidneys, right? Now what is the structure? I want you all to tell me what is the structure of nephron. Very good, Akshara, Meera, Neelam. Yes. They have a tubular structure, right? So we see that these, we have a tubular structure. And what is the function? You can say it is urine formation, right? Or you can say urine production. Yes, or helps with filtration of blood. You can say that, right? But mainly, if you say only filtration of blood, won't that be incomplete? Because if you say that the nephron that is there helps with filtration of blood, isn't that only a part of the nephron, which is the the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule, right? So if you say that it is only filtration, you'll get only half mark because that's only half the function. But what does it do? It helps in filtration and formation of urine, right? So you need to write that fully. Yes, extra marks for writing filtration I will give you. Ma'am, I said blood. Team 7, I get it, but isn't that only half? Because what else does it do? It will also tell you it is also for formation of urine. You don't need to write the parts AV and many others who are asking me, right? Because here in this particular case, they have just asked you for 1 mark, right? 1 mark mein kitna you will write? Same only, tubular structure is enough. 1 mark for stating where we find them, 1 mark for writing this, right? So here the question is, write the structure and function of nephron. What nephron has a tubular structure, right? That helps in the function of that helps in the production of urine. Kiran, same. Now if you write purification of blood, that's happening in the glomerulus. Uske baad kya ho raha hai? You're writing down urine formation is also happening, na? So you'll have to write that. ठीक है? अगर वीडियो ब्लर है, go ahead and quickly increase it in the settings. Yes? Question number 15, everybody. Chanda, welcome to the class, right? It would be correct to write both. Yes. Question number 15, which is 2 marks. I think I have done this question once again, right? Okay. Ha, Khader, I'll answer this question, right? Okay. Name the type of blood, oxygenated or deoxygenated, that is transported by each of the following, mentioning the path. That is, where does it go from? A, vena cava, and B is pulmonary artery, right? So you have vena cava. What is the vena cava? We know that it's one among the largest veins that are there. Ha, ma'am, this came in my midterms. Let me tell you, whatever we have taken today, they are PYQs, which means easily 3 to 4 questions is going to come in your midterms. Because these are PYQs and your teachers will give you PYQs, right? Okay. Very good, all of you. Very good. We see that they help in the transport of deoxygenated blood, right? They help in the transport of deoxygenated blood from where to where? From body to which part? Yes. Very good. You can write heart, or what can you write? You can be specific about your answer, right? You can be specific about your answer and you can say which part. Yes? Right atrium of the heart. Excretory unit, Vasanti, nephron. Nephron. Very good. So this is going to be deoxygenated blood from, so you should say from different parts of the body to where? To the right atrium of the heart, right? So that is the vena cava. Next up you have pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery, that is there, again helps in transport of deoxygenated blood, right? So this also helps in transport of deoxygenated blood from your right ventricle all the way to the lungs, right? So right ventricle to all the way to the lungs. Ma'am, can we write it in points? You can write it in points. No problem. Points is what is preferred, right? So in this particular case, vena cava, different parts. So deoxygenated blood, different parts to right atrium. Pulmonary artery, deoxygenated blood from right ventricle to the lungs, right? Yes. Okay. Don't worry, Akshat Singh. We are here for you to help you out, right? Awesome. So with this, everybody, we have 2 more marks, right? So here we have, you have all got 2 marks. Yes? Okay. Ma'am, upper and lower nahi chalta hai likhne ko. Nahi. See, let me tell you one thing, okay? And this is very important because sometimes in schools what happened, no? Sometimes you may hear that you'll have to write extra stuff. Let me tell you, in CBSE board exam, right? How the exam key that is made, right? The answer key that is made, it is from NCERT. So if you write extra from NCERT, well and good for you. But if you write what is there in NCERT, it's more than enough, right? Because they want to know how much you have applied the concepts, right? This is about applying concepts and understanding. It's not just about mugging up things blindly, right? You are applying what to do. Yes? You can download the app for sure. The link is available in the description. It is there in the channel page as well. Go download the app. You have amazing questions which are there on the app that will help you for practice, right? Yes. Moving on, everyone, let's move on to differences between xylem and phloem, right? So there was somebody who was asking me for transpiration pull and root pressure. I don't know if you're still in my class right now, right? Somebody was asking me transpiration pull. I will take this part with you and I will do this, right? Yes. Now, very important, don't forget to hit the like button on this video, right? Our team and me, we've all gone extra efforts to make life easy for you, right? So you need to make sure you hit that like button. I should have 200 likes on this video. Otherwise, I will not pick homework star, right? Okay. Awesome. So everybody quickly go ahead and make sure you hit the like button, right? Very important. Yes? Okay. Moving on, what is the difference between xylem and phloem? Now, when you're writing differences between xylem and phloem, you will have to write it with respect to structure and you will have to write with respect to function, right? So now when you talk about structure of xylem, we know that xylem that is there is of course responsible. Either ways you can write it. We know that this right here helps in the transport of water and minerals from the roots, right? It helps from transporting it from the roots all the way to the upper parts. So in this case, we see that transport is unidirectional, right? So we see that transport is unidirectional. What is xylem made up of? We know that xylem normally has tracheids. We know that it has vessels, right? We know that it has fibers and of course it has xylem parenchyma. So xylem is mainly made up of non-living parts that are there. Yes? Now on the other hand, we have phloem, right? Beautiful phloem, which is made up of sieve tube, right? It is made up of companion cells, right? So we know that it's made up of companion cells. Then we have phloem fibers and we have phloem parenchyma. Now, phloem on the other hand helps in transport of food substances, right? To both the upper parts of the plant as well as the lower parts of the plant. And this process is what we call as translocation. And here we see that transport here is bidirectional, right? Transport is bidirectional. So together we know that the xylem and phloem that is there make up the vascular bundles. Yes? Vansh. क्यों 10th standard में क्यों अभी पढ़ना है ना board exam is there, why you're behind all this? After that you think about it. Yes? See here, as you can all see, they've asked differences between xylem and phloem, but it's only for 2 marks, right? Which is why any 2 points are enough, right? Any 2 points are enough, and in this particular case I've written all of it, but you need to write 2. Bidirectional means 2 directions, upwards and downwards, right? Easy peasy, you will get 2 marks. Ma'am, where do plants germinate? They germinate under the soil. They start there, na? Yes. Happy Raksha Bandhan, intelligent boy. So sweet. Seema, functions of lymph. Lymph helps in transporting fat. It helps in mainly helps us in protection against fighting diseases because they are mainly made up of WBCs. Tyline. Pratik, I think you're talking about tyline, which is also salivary amylase, right? Yes. Okay. So now, of course, everybody, we will move on to question number 17, which is 3 marks, right? So far we had 6 questions. We had 6 questions which were for 2 marks. That means many of you got the answer correctly. So next 10 marks you have got out of that. So totally 20 marks ho gaya. Right? So you've got 10 marks. 10 plus 10, 20 marks done. Right? Yes. Now I have a small request for you. Right? I have a small request. How about we take a 2-minute water break? Right? I need little bit water. So how about we take a 2-minute water break and then we resume with the 3, 4 and 5 mark questions. Right? Kumar, I'll take a water break and come. Right? Yes. 2 minutes water break, everybody. You guys have quick amount of water. I didn't bring my water bottle today, so I'll quickly go have some water and come. So we will resume at 8:05 p.m. In the meanwhile, make sure to go ahead and like this video. When I come back, I need to have at least 200 likes on this video, right? Yes, Dolly, I do. So fatafat, I'll be back, right? Hello everybody, we are back, right? Yes. Okay, I can see there's another Aishwarya ma'am in class. Ma'am, you told us, I know, I forgot. Actually, I had a class before this, right? So I thought I'll have some time after that class to go and get it, but I didn't get time. Like, my class was so neck to neck, so it became very difficult. ठीक है. Are we ready? Yes? Dogs are not saprophytes. See, understand that they killed. See, if you look at a dog or any carnivore, right? It's not that they feed on a already dead organism. They hunt, they kill, and then they eat the meat. To be honest, a dog will not, normally if you look at it, they prefer. So that is the reason why we say that, right? Yes, we will do. We'll have mega mentees. We'll have a lot of interesting things coming your way. This is going to be a jam-packed exam ed series. You have no idea how interesting it's going to be. Notes will come. Okay, let's move on, right? We have just a few more questions, right? Today 28, we're in 17th question already, right? Easy peasy ones. So root pressure, Sharon, right? I forgot to mention it earlier. Root pressure is basically the pressure that gets built up in the roots while absorbing water, right? as a result of osmosis, we see that normally in the night and everything, when there's not a lot of transpiration transpiration happening, we see that there gets pressure that gets accumulated due to osmosis, and that's root pressure, right? Okay, first one. These are 3-mark question and 3 subparts are there. That means 1 mark for each of it, right? Question number 1 of first subpart. In the process of respiration, state the function of alveoli. One statement. Very good, right? Very, very good. We see that alveoli that are there are balloon sac-like structures that facilitate gaseous exchange, right? So this right here, all you need to say is they facilitate exchange of gases. Or you can say, here they're just asking for function, you can just directly say exchange of gases. Next one. See? Rate of breathing in aquatic organisms is much faster than in terrestrial organisms, right? So here, this is the answer for this. But why is the rate of breathing, right? Why is it more in aquatic organisms? Love you too, Abhishek. Lots of love to all of you here. Very good, Sakshi. Very good. Yes, Tanvi. Very good. So we know that the amount in terrestrial organisms, we know, or in land, we know that there's about 21% of oxygen that is available, right? So relatively more, since more amount of oxygen is available on land, we see that the breathing rate is relatively less, right? But on the other hand, in water, the amount of oxygen that is found dissolved in water is very less, right? Which is why what happens? The rate of breathing increases in order so that more and more oxygen enters into the body, right? Which is why you will have to say that the keyword is amount of dissolved oxygen is less than oxygen, is less in water, right? Easy peasy. Yes, 1 mark for that. Now last one, complete the pathway. You have a 6-carbon glucose which is getting broken down into something, right? Into something which is a 3-carbon molecule. And then in the presence of oxygen in mitochondria, it is giving you something plus water plus energy. So if I have to write it down properly, glucose, which is a 6-carbon molecule, right, is getting broken down in the cytoplasm to give me what? First answer. Very good. It is pyruvate, right? This is a 3-carbon molecule and some amount of energy gets released, right? Now along with this, if this pyruvate is transported to the mitochondria, then complete breakdown happens, giving us what? Carbon dioxide, water along with energy, right? So you will get half mark here for writing pyruvate. You will get half mark here for writing carbon dioxide, right? Half mark here. So there you go, everybody. This is of course the elaborate one, and if you write all of this in detail, 1 mark for writing what is a function of alveoli, 1 mark for writing why breathing rate is faster, 1 mark here for telling me pyruvate and carbon dioxide. Easily you have all scored 3 out of 3 marks, right? So here you have all scored 3 marks. Yes, I hope you are writing this down. 3 markers are not complicated in science because normally you will find subparts. Now next question, right? Next one. 3 points of difference between respiration in plants and respiration in animals. 3 marks for the same. Yes? Now this should be pretty simple for all of us, right? This should be a easy peasy question. Very easy. Now we know that normally in animals, right, we know that both aerobic and anaerobic respiration can take place. But normally, right, we see that aerobic respiration takes place in plants. Now here we see that there's no physical process of breathing that is there, right? But here we see that there's a physical process of breathing that is involved, right? Lungs and stomata is also a point of difference you can write about. But here when you're writing about stomata, you can say that where gaseous exchange happens, right? So here we see that gaseous exchange happens in stomata. Here it happens in the lungs, or you can say it is alveoli, right? And we know that carbon dioxide in this case, this is a very random point which I will actually not write. But here the carbon dioxide that is given out can also be utilized by the plant for photosynthesis, right? Again, it can be utilized. Another way of writing it is plants have a mechanism to utilize carbon dioxide. While on the other hand, we don't have the ability to utilize we don't have ability to utilize the carbon dioxide, right? So you can write those points. Exactly. Very good, Khushi. Very good. And this is a very important question. Exactly. This is very important because this is an application of what you learn in respiration, right? This is an application in understanding the difference. So when you're writing the answer, make it a point that you write this down. Do you want to take a screenshot? Nahi chahiye, equation nahi chahiye, because you just need to write 3 points of difference, right? Ma'am, is plant respiration slow? See, it depends, it is relatively slower, right? Because if you think about why a plant would require energy, one very big factor is that plants don't have a lot of physical exercise like us, right? Movement is not there in plants. So in that way, if you compare animals and plants, it is relatively slower. I'll always use the word relative because how are you defining the word slow? You're not going to give up a speed to it, right? So it is relatively slower because plants are fixed, right? Yes. Ma'am, screenshots once taken, we will never open. Okay, you write the answer down at some point, right? Ma'am, what about proper system in plants? You can write that point down that we have an organ system. But see, in general, if you look at it, plants and animals' body design is very different again because of various needs that are there, right? So that's why. Respiration in animals is faster because movement, right? Movement is there. We go from one place to another. For that, we require energy, right? Tissues, next Monday I am taking. Next Monday. Moving on. How are fats digested in our body and where does this body take place, right? 3 marks. So here you will have to write little bit of a story. Now I don't want you to give me the full answer, right? This is NCERT question, but this is also PYQ. Short you can get this topic, right? Ma'am, should I elaborate in previous point? Nahin. ज़्यादा नहीं elaborate करना है, right? So write yes. Lipase you will write, but you have to write a very important process. Bile juice, ठीक है, one process. You have to mention name of one process which you have to say. Very good Neha, you're the first person whose name I saw. Very good Zimra. Very good Harshit. Yes, amazing. Very good Darshita, Muskan. Very proud. So here, how will you start this, right? So many of you know the concept. Ma'am, we know what the concept, emulsification, right? So quickly to recall, we know that when we talk about fats exist as very large molecules, right? So here we see that fats that are there exist as large droplets or they exist as large molecules, right? Now we see that they are so large that actually enzymes cannot act on them. Which is why we see that when it comes to the initial opening of the small intestine, the duodenum region, we see that the duodenum that is there receives secretions from the liver, right? So we see that the liver produces a greenish yellow fluid called as bile, right? So it produces bile juice, which also sounds as juice, but don't get confused, okay? So we see that it produces bile juice, right? And what does this bile juice do? Bile juice will first break down large droplets of fat and it will make them down into smaller droplets. Now this particular process of conversion of large droplets of fat into smaller droplets is what we call as emulsification, right? Now students, I want to check your concept on one thing. Can we say that emulsification is also digestion? Emulsification is digestion, yes or no? Is emulsification digestion? Right? Yes or no? I was actually waiting to see this because when I was taking your lower grades, when I was taking a class for your juniors on this, they had this confusion. Then I realized and I wanted to check if you guys have the similar confusion. It is not. What is digestion? Okay, what is digestion? Breakdown of complex substances into simpler forms, right? Now, when I say that starch, right? When I say starch is getting broken down, say, to maltose, right? We see that here there is a change. When I say digestion is happening, there is a conversion, right? There is a conversion or there's a chemical difference that is happening, right? But in this case, right, in this particular case, what's happening? Large structures are getting broken down into smaller structures, right? So you cannot say that it's exactly digestion. Yes, they're getting simpler or smaller droplets that are there. Who wants recommendation of movies? I'll tell you, right? You go watch this beautiful documentary on human body. You will understand everything on life process. Stop watching other movies right now. You watch that documentary first, right? It's not exactly the same. Understand that. Because then won't the action of lipase or see, understand that it's for the action of enzymes, right? Which is why you need to understand that there is a slight difference between the process of digestion and emulsification, right? Stop suggesting movies, you pay attention to me. Yes? So now once it is physically broken down, your lipase enzyme will act on it and it is sorted, right? So then we know that after that action of pancreatic lipase will happen and they will be broken down into fatty acid and glycerol, right? Yes. So here you have to write 3 main points, right? We see that first you need to start with the process of emulsification. Then you need to talk about why emulsification is necessary. Then you need to talk about how they will get broken down, right? So here, of course, if you write these 3 points, you will get 3 marks. Yes? Easy peasy. Documentary, it is there on Netflix. They were talking about Netflix, so I was like, okay. Okay. Hey, you watch movie later, you finish half yearly exam and then you go watch whatever movie. I am not stopping you, right? I will not stop you. Okay? Yes. Now question number 20. What is hemoglobin? State the consequences of deficiency of hemoglobin in the body. So you will have to say what, if it's 3 marks, you can't just stop at 2 points. So you will have to say what is hemoglobin, what is the function of hemoglobin, right? And then you have to write about what will happen if there is not enough hemoglobin, because the function is necessary to elaborate this point, right? So 1 mark here, 1 mark here, 1 mark will tell you what is the consequence, right? Very good. Hemoglobin is the red pigment, you can say it's the respiratory pigment which is present in the red blood cells that imparts red color to the blood and also is of course very, very important and plays a key role in oxygen transport. Yes. Now what will happen if not enough hemoglobin is not present, right? Hero, Neha likes me. Neha is going to pay attention to me. You also pay attention to me. Okay? Yes. Very good. So we know that oxygen has an affinity. Oxygen has an affinity to hemoglobin, right? Which is why we know that as a result it's able to transport it. Lack of hemoglobin in the body, right? We see that lack of hemoglobin in the body can affect the transport of oxygen. So here you can talk about deficiency of hemoglobin can lead to anemia, right? Especially iron. If there's a deficiency of iron, then it affects the production of hemoglobin, which in turn causes a condition called as anemia. And we also know that deficiency of hemoglobin overall will reduce the oxygen capacity, right? So here you will have to write 2 marks which you will get for writing structure function, 1 mark for elaborating what are the consequences, right? Ma'am, iron content is in hemoglobin. Iron is present in hemoglobin, right? Hemoglobin is basically a protein. It's a type of globin that is their protein, right? So you can write about it. Why do you want movie 8? Don't distract me. You pay attention, Kumar, first. After that, we'll discuss. Okay? Moving on, right, ma'am? That's amnesia. Amnesia is different from anemia. Anemia is a decrease of, hemoglobin or iron content in the body which affects oxygen transport. Amnesia is when there's a memory loss, right? It could be due to trauma in an accident, right? Where people forget certain things. Yes? Ferrous. It is ferrous, not ferrum. Question number 21, everybody. Explain the 3 ways in which glucose can be broken down. Explain the ways in which glucose can be broken down in the absence or shortage of oxygen, right? No, it does not. Hemoglobin does not help in transport of waste, right? See, waste again depends. Part of hemoglobin helps in carbon dioxide transport, but waste is a very generic one. See, will you write aerobic respiration? Are you going to write story on aerobic respiration here? No. Very good, Pratik. Very good. Aerobic do you need to write? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. You don't need to write aerobic respiration. Yes? Because they are saying absence or shortage, which means that we are talking about the 2 types of anaerobic respiration. Yes? So here you will have to read the question. This is where silly mistakes come. So here you can talk about these 2 points. So we know that glucose is broken down a 6-carbon glucose molecule is broken down into pyruvate in the cytoplasm. But due to an absence or shortage, we know that this pyruvate undergoes a partial breakdown, where in muscle cells, we know that it results in the formation of lactic acid, while in the case of yeast, it results in the formation of ethanol and carbon dioxide. So here you can say you need to talk about step number 1, which is for conversion of glucose to pyruvate, and then you need to mention these 2 points down, right? Yes. 2 marks you will get for this. Very good, very good. Arey red hero, why are you doing this? You pay attention to me, right? 3 marks, students, for this particular question. So question number 17 say we started our 3-mark journey, right? So from question number 17 we started our 3-mark journey, and I think we have the last 3-mark question. Write the correct sequence of steps followed during the journey of oxygen-rich blood to various parts of the human body, right? So there are various ways. Elaborate, double circulation, right? So you can talk about all of these pointers that are there. मैम वो फ्लो चार्ट बनाना है, अगर बनाओ तो अच्छा रहेगा, right? Good for you if you want to write the flow chart as well. So in this particular case, right? So what you can talk about, since it's for 3 marks, actually I have a slide personally, if you were to if you were to ask me, the question is asking oxygen-rich blood from the lungs to the various parts of the human body, right? So normally when you write this point, right, what you need to do is step number 1, you will have to say that oxygen-rich blood from the lungs is transported to the left side of the heart, right? So we know that in the left side of the heart, it is received and the left atrium receives it. Now from the left atrium, it is transported to the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle, we know that the aorta will transport it into the different parts. Now these are 3 marks already. Now from here, you can write in 1 sentence, because the question is just asking journey of oxygen-rich blood from lungs to human body, which means Pratik's answer is correct. Bas utna hi, 1 side only they are asking you. But if you want to be on the safe side, in 1 sentence you can say, then the deoxygenated blood is then transported to the right side, which is then sent to the lungs for oxygenation. In 1 sentence you can wind it up. Yes? So are you clear? They have not asked you double circulation, but rather they have asked you oxygen-rich blood from lungs to various parts. Yes? Are we all clear? Yes? Are we clear? Do you understand ma'am, this question please elaborate again. So the question is asking us how oxygen-rich blood, right? Oxygen-rich blood from the lungs is transported to different parts, right? So they are just asking about this. So here if you see, I'm just making it in the form of a flow chart. You have lungs, you have your heart which has right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle, right? Now oxygen-rich blood that is there comes from the lungs, right? And we know that the pulmonary vein, right? Pulmonary vein that is there transports oxygen-rich blood from the lungs to the left atrium of the heart. Now from the left atrium we know that it goes to the left ventricle. Now from the left ventricle we see that it will go, or it will be transported to different parts of the body through a blood vessel called as the aorta. So technically your question is asking only so much about double circulation, right? They're asking you only so much. But in case if you're like, ma'am, what if just in case they asked for something else, right? What if just in case they asked for something else? Then you can write 1 sentence of conclusion saying that deoxygenated blood from the body is transported to the right side and then it is sent back to the lungs for oxygenation, right? So it's as simple as that. So quickly if you were to finish, if I have to describe this, right? Ma'am, not to mention from body to lungs, क्योंकि question पूछा ही नहीं है body to lungs. They have just said lungs to body. But that's what I said. In case if you feel, अरे ma'am थोड़ा डर लग रहा है, अगर what if they ask that and I did not write, then you just write so much. They can ask you schematic diagram of blood circulation, so this is important. So now here we see that this is all your oxygenated blood, right? This is all oxygenated. Once it goes to body, all your oxygen is utilized for your respiration process, and from here your deoxygenated blood is transported through the vena cava, right? So this is your deoxygenated blood. It is transported through the vena cava to the right atrium. From right atrium it will go to right ventricle. From right ventricle it will go to the lungs through the pulmonary vein, right? I mean pulmonary artery. Yes? So are we clear now? Yes? Are we all clear? 10 more minutes. Over. Class over. Okay? Yes? Moving on to question number 23. I actually have only few more questions. This is a 5-mark question. So from 17, right? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. 7 questions, we had 3 marks. So that is 21 marks for all of you, right? 21 marks. Everybody. I think most of you gave me correct answer. So I'm going to give you full marks for this. In case if some of you went wrong, you tell me. Okay? First one is 5 marks. Which means here if you see this, I will take 1 mark. 2 components of blood. You give me any 2 components. Right? Very good. So first part is 2 components of blood. You can write RBCs, you can write WBCs, or you can write plasma, right? Any of it. I am doing a video on the important diagrams also, so don't worry. The video will be coming out very soon. Or you can write the cellular component and the fluid component also, right? If you want to incorporate everything and you're like, ma'am, I want everything in my answer, you can say blood has 2 components, right? So here we can say that blood has 2 components. We see that it has a fluid component, which is the plasma, right? And then you can talk about the cellular component, which is going to be RBC, WBC, and platelet. Now, ideally, I prefer this answer, right? That way everything will be there. So, easy peasy. Yes? Now, next one is trace the movement of oxygenated blood in the body, right? Trace the movement of oxygenated blood. It's very similar. Yes, very good study guide. Lungs say kaha? Lungs say left atrium. So you can write through pulmonary vein. From left atrium, left ventricle. From left ventricle through the aorta all the way to the body. Yes? So you just need to write this much. Okay? Now next up, function of valves. Question number C. Function of valves which are present between atria and ventricles. Ma'am, how many types of WBCs? There are totally 5 types. 5 types are there. Simple. Aram se, right? These guys here, they prevent backflow, right? So here as you can see, they prevent backflow of blood. Yes? Aram se. Now this is one structural difference between artery and vein. This will be for 2 marks. So this is 1 mark, this is 1 mark, and this is going to be for 2 marks, right? So quickly moving on. Components, we've already discussed. We've already traced the movement, right? We've already discussed function of valves. Artery, vein, you have to write any 1 point of difference, right? We've already discussed this question earlier. Arteries are thicker, this is thinner. Simple. 1 point you will write here. So here as you can see, these are components, but I will rewrite this because I like the answer I wrote, right? So here you can say components include fluid and cellular, and under this you can write plasma, and under this you can write RBC, WBC, and platelets, right? Simple. Now here you have elaborated this 1 mark, 1 mark. This prevents backflow. 2 marks for this, right? So you will get a total of 5 marks here. Yes? So now you have got a total of 5 marks. Now let's move on to the next one. Question number 24. This is 4 marks exemplar, right? Ma'am, difference between bicuspid and tricuspid valves. Bicuspid valves are present on the left side, right, of between left atrium and left ventricle. Tricuspid is present between right atrium and right ventricle. Yes? Okay. Now, we're talking about what would happen to the rate of photosynthesis on cloudy days, when no rainfall is there, when good manuring is there, and when stomata gets blocked due to dust, right? So here we're talking about, we know what are the factors, right? So when we talk about photosynthesis, we know it's carbon dioxide that combines with water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, giving me glucose along with oxygen as a byproduct. Now we know that in this particular case, there are factors which get affected. So we know that there are external factors as well as internal factors. Now external factor, right? In cloudy days, what will happen? In cloudy days, what is going to happen? Our clouds that are there is going to block the sunlight, right? Which means that the rate at which photosynthesis happens will decrease. Now, what if there is no rainfall in the area for a very long period of time, right? What if there is no rainfall in the area? Yes? Now, this is going to be a little tricky, right? This is going to be a little tricky because here they have not said that there is no rainfall in the area for a very long period of time. They said that there is no rainfall in the area, right? So now this is in a little bit of a tricky space because it could be that even if rainfall didn't happen, now think about it, rainfall didn't happen but soil has water. Then if soil has water, will photosynthesis happen? It can, right? It can take it up, it can happen. So in this case, if no rainfall happens, you will have to specify that, right? We can water the plants, exactly. So you can say if no rainfall happens in the area for a prolonged period of time, then the photosynthesis can get affected, right? So photosynthesis can get affected in this particular case. Now, how about if good manuring is there? How about if good manuring is there? Will it affect the rate of photosynthesis in any way? I add lots of manure. Anyway, yes, I want to know how. How is manure helping it? Manure has nutrients, but how is that helping in increasing the rate of photosynthesis? No, it is not. It is not affecting the rate of photosynthesis. It can affect the growth, right? It can affect the growth of the plant. I agree. But rate of photosynthesis will not depend because see, it's not getting affected by any of the factors, right? So that is the reason. Ma'am, how will stomata get blocked by dust? Dust particles are very fine, right? So in some cases, if you see in especially dusty areas and all, in some cases, there could be some plants which could block it, right? Dust are very fine particles, right? Ma'am, so in this case, option B, can we say it will not affect the rate of photosynthesis? See, that's what, no, option B is very tricky. Because if you say that no rainfall in an area for a given day, it's okay because water is available. But if no rainfall for a prolonged period of time, then it may affect, right? So in this case, at this point, we can say it does not affect because we are assuming that on a given day that there is no rainfall, right? On a given day, there is no rainfall. Okay? Stomata gets blocked. It will decrease because carbon dioxide will be taken less, right? So that is the case. So now, of course, these are the explanations for it. If you write all of it, you will get 4 marks for the same, right? 4 marks. So here it will be 3 marks and it will be 1 mark here. Yes? So I am totaling all of this here. Now moving on to the last question for today. Now this is 4 marks with 4 subparts. Yes? These are 4 marks with 4 subparts. Okay? Neat level questions after this, right? Ma'am, very tricky question. Koi nahi, that's a little bit of application, right? Ma'am, should I elaborate on question number 17? I don't remember what question number 17 was, but you can elaborate, right? I know, but it's okay. Ideally, this class was planned for 2 hours. No, it's just 1.5. I'll wind it up in 10 minutes. No worry. Okay. Excretory system, yeah, they talk about excretory system, right? What is the purpose of making urine? 1 mark. Tell me this. Filter blood or to get rid of nitrogenous waste? Filter blood or getting rid of nitrogenous waste? Answer is it is to filter out the blood in order to remove the nitrogenous waste like urea. So you can't just write half and give me the answer. I will cut marks, okay? Arterioles are blood vessels that branch off from the artery, right? They are arterioles, right? Yes. So this is 1 mark here, okay? You can't just write filtering blood. Filtering blood to do what? To remove nitrogenous waste. And it is not Cosmotalk, it is not ammonia, uric acid, everything. In our body, what is the form of nitrogenous waste? It is urea, right? In fishes and everything, nitrogenous waste is released in the form of ammonia. What about in the case of birds? That is released in the form of uric acid. So you will have to specify, don't say everything. Then again marks will be cut, right? So just say in order to filter out metabolic or nitrogenous waste like urea. Yes? Okay. Next up, what is Bowman's capsule? 1 mark for this. What is the Bowman's capsule? What is this, Vansh? What is all this? No. Cup-like structure. Very good. Yes, Divyansh. Filled with capillaries. Bunch of capillaries. Are you getting confused with what is Bowman's capsule or what is glomerulus? See, Bowman's capsule is this cup-like structure which holds or which has your glomerulus, right? It contains or the glomerulus sits on it. So in this case, we see that it is a cup-shaped structure which is a part of the nephron, right? And we know that it holds the glomerulus in it, right? And of course, you can say that it plays a very important role in filtration of blood. Now here, if you say that it plays a key role in filtration of blood, I agree, right? So here, it is not, it plays a key role. It is not the one doing the filtration. Understand? It has a role to contribute, but it is not the only one doing it. So you can write down that glomerulus and Bowman's capsule together help in the filtration of blood, right? Okay. Now moving on to the next one. Yes? What are you saying, Vansh? Why you just... Hey, you pay attention in class. Don't get distracted. Next up, what is dialysis? Easy peasy, right? Now, this is very important because you can get questions, especially MCQ based questions have come. So, please focus as to what is dialysis, right? Ma'am, what if I say reabsorption? For the other one, no. You will lose marks, Kiran. If you write reabsorption for Bowman's capsule, you will lose marks. Because reabsorption is not happening there, no. There are different parts, the tubular region, right? The remaining parts, those are the places where reabsorption is happening. So, you have to be careful. So we know that in some cases when the kidney does not function properly, we see that is dialysis an artificial kidney, or dialysis is the process by which we see that this happens, right? We know that there's a dialyzing machine, right? We know that there's a dialyzing machine, right, or a dialyzer that is there. So this is the process. Understand that. You should not say that dialysis is the artificial kidney. Dialysis is a process by which in some cases in whose kidneys are failing, we see that using with the help of this process, we see that we can filter the blood outside the body, right? So you will get 1 mark for the same. Last one, what is the function of urinary bladder? Easy peasy. What is the function of urinary bladder? Ma'am, which part is known as respiratory pigment? Adarsh, hemoglobin. See, dialysis, hemodialysis is more or less the same. Dialysis is commonly used. Hemodialysis is basically with respect to filtering blood, right? It's specific, more technical. Stores urine. Yes, stores urine for a brief period of time until it is expelled. 4 marks, everybody. Aram se you have scored, right? So, to think about it, 20. You scored 10 marks here. You scored 10 plus 10, 20, 41. 41 plus some weird marks, okay, 41 plus 49, 54. 54 marks you have scored. This test today was out of 50. And all of you have scored 54 out of 54. How are you feeling? To be honest, I want to ask you that. How are you feeling with this chapter? To be honest, if you see, to think about it, all of you have given me the answer. Those of you who stayed till here, till the end with me, you have done very well, which means that your confidence has gone high, right? Which means that you need to be more, confident with yourself. This is not about me coming and telling you that you are awesome. I mean, of course, it's about me coming and telling you how awesome you are, but you also need to tell yourself that you are awesome. Because I'll tell you why. When your nerves hit you, right, when you're writing an exam, that is the moment when you say, I don't know, did I really study? There's self-doubt that creeps in, right? There's a lot of self-doubt that creeps into you. And in those moments, I want you to tell yourself, I aced it. I am awesome. I did this, so I know I will do it, right? So here are some bonus questions from your NEET exam, right? So these are some NEET PYQs which are there. See, I have not taken the complicated technical ones. I took some easy peasy ones only so that you also get a taste of doing some foundation level ones, right? Yes, awesome. Even if you got whatever your marks is, don't worry, you've got this, right? I'm so happy. Systolic and diastolic pressure is basically the pressure that is calculated when the heart contracts, right? And when the heart relaxes, right? So contraction happens when we see that normally, right? We see that there's atria contract for the blood to go into the ventricle, ventricles will contract for the blood to leave. So whenever the contraction happens, that is a systolic pressure. Diastole is when it relaxes, right? Okay, see, I'm going to do a separate video on the remaining extra topics, right? Don't worry, I'll take it more and more. Now, the first question, which among the following pairs of food components in human beings reaches the stomach totally undigested, right? Which of the following will reach the stomach totally undigested? Starch and fat, fat and cellulose, starch and cellulose, or protein and starch? Let me tell you, these are proper NEET level questions. Control coordination happening next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Let me tell you one thing, control coordination will be a 3-hour class because I will spend a lot of time revising, doing questions. I need a long time. Please come prepared for that class. Don't say, "Arey ma'am, aap itna time laga rahe ho." Control coordination will need that time. Thank you once. Unnecessarily, you were talking some random things in class. Let me see what is the answer that you're all giving. Amazing, guys. Gautam, bacha, what was your doubt? I forgot. I'm sorry. In all this, I lost track. Thank you, Dolly. So sweet. Easy peasy. Correct answer is option B, fat, right? So technically when we talk about stomach, we know that digestion of food starts in the mouth, right? And what gets digested? We see that starch gets digested in the mouth. So any option which suggests starch, we know that they are all wrong answers. And correct answer is option B. Yes? Now moving on to the next one. So which among the following options, part A, B, C and D, is correctly identified along with its functions, right? So you have part A, okay, this is part A, this is part B here, this is part C here, and this is part D here, right? So now in this case, you have to identify which is the correct one. A says that A is the alveolar cavity and that is where site of exchange of gases happen. B is pointing towards the, this is the B. Sorry, B ka labeling was wrong. B is the one which is responsible for transporting carbon dioxide. C says that it is the arterial capillary and it brings oxygen to the tissues. Okay. D says that it is the capillary wall. This right here, right? This one is the capillary wall and this is where exchange of carbon dioxide and water takes place. Carbon dioxide and oxygen. See at which location they are pointing out. Very good, everybody, ma'am. But cellulose is not in there in humans. But we eat cellulose. Plant-based food. Plants have cellulose in it. We do eat cellulose, just that we don't have the ability to digest cellulose, which is why we eliminate the cellulose as it is, right? Harshit and many others. Very good. I'm super proud. Super proud if you've got the answer for this, right? See, B was pointing, see, B labeling was a little wrong, that's why I was changing it. B is saying that RBC that is there mainly transports carbon dioxide. No, answer is wrong. This says that it is the arterial capillary which passes oxygen to the tissue. Now C is pointing towards the part of the capillary that is bringing in deoxygenated blood, right? So is it really helping in transporting oxygen? No, right? Then this is not the case. Now D is pointing, this part here, D that is there is pointing to the part where exchange happens. Yes, right? Here is where the exchange happens. But now we have gone far away where the joining of venules come, right? So in this case, in this diagram, this right here is not correct, right? Now last question. Bonus question. Which among the following enzyme carries on the initial step in the digestion of milk in humans? Is it renin, pepsin, lipase or trypsin? Yes? We can close the polls. Harish, we can end the poll. Everybody is telling me renin, 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 renin. Just give me one moment. Very good. I don't know. I'm seeing many mixed answers. But surprisingly, answer is option B. See, renin that is there is something which is mainly seen in infants, right? In young babies, you will see renin because their main or primary source of protein or food in general is through milk, right? But over a period of time, what happens? We see that in this particular case, the renin that is there will not be there in adults anymore, right? So we're talking about in humans, especially in adults, the initial steps of digestion in milk, right? We see that this right here is going to be pepsin, right? Not even trypsin. Because I'll tell you why. Because with respect to pepsin and trypsin, which will come first, it's going to be your pepsin, which is in the stomach, right? Trypsin that is there is in the small intestine. So it is not trypsin. Neither can it be lipase because in this particular case what happens? Lipase acts on fats, not your, not your proteins. Which is why in this case the answer is going to be pepsin. Yes? So now I hope we are talking about the initial step. And see, like I said, these are some neat level questions for which these are some extra topics, right? You will later on when you go to 11th standard and you learn digestion, you will learn about all these enzymes, how they will work, right? And we will go into the details of it. You don't worry about this wala question and all. These are some extra bonus questions. I just gave it to you as it is, right? Okay. So with this everybody, I come to the end of today's class, but you know that you have a homework question, right? Now the homework question that is there is, describe the mechanism that is involved during inhalation in humans, right? So I need you all to tell me which are the parts that are involved, right? You have to tell me which are the parts that are involved during inhalation and what do they do, right? Or how do they move such that we are able to inhale, right? So I hope all of you are excited and I hope you're all ready to be my homework hero/heroine, right? Ansari, Pepsin is responsible for protein digestion, right? So I hope all of you enjoyed today's class. I told you I will do it in 1 hour, but it became 1.5 hours to 1 hour 40 minutes, right? So I hope all of you understood this chapter very well. I hope now you are more confident with this chapter, right? And of course, do not worry. We will have more and more practice sessions coming your way. And see, we'll keep revising until you feel confident, right? Now, quick question which Gautam asked me is that, ma'am, why do desert plants close their stomata in the mornings? They close their stomata in the mornings because they live in extreme conditions, right? They live in, they're found in places where we know that there's extreme temperature. So to minimize transpiration, they keep their stomata closed. Then how do they do photosynthesis? They keep the stomata open at night, take in the carbon dioxide, convert it to an intermediate form called as malic acid, and in the morning with the presence of sunlight, they will then they will convert back the intermediate and then they will do the process, right? So I hope I have clarified your doubt. What is the role of glomerulus? Helps in filtration of blood. Control coordination is happening next Wednesday. I don't know the date, okay? But next Wednesday, we are going to be doing control and coordination. Now, control coordination will happen slightly differently because I will have to do a full chapter summary. So, students, I'm just going to tell you now only I need 3 hours for that class. I need 3 hours, which means if I start at 7 o'clock, chances are I will take till 10 o'clock. So that day alone, I'm telling you now, you come prepared for that class so that if control coordination is also sorted, no, I'm telling you, bio mein you will score very good marks in science, right? Reproduction wala chapter, I will prepare it as soon as I can, right? Maybe by end of this month, I'll try to finish off human reproduction also. Ankita ma'am and I will work on it and we'll finish it off. Yes? So thank you so much, all of you. I hope you enjoyed this class. I really enjoyed today's class. I had a lot of fun today. Happy Raksha Bandhan to all of you. If you enjoyed the class, don't forget to let me know in the comments of this video, right? And I will see you all soon. But up until then, everybody, take care. Lots of love. And make sure you're healthy, wealthy, and sleep well. I'll see you all soon. But up until then, bye-bye and good night.